Hello, welcome to the latest of my deep dive videos. This one into the Aquarius New Moon, which is on the 21st or 22nd of January, depending on where you are in the world. I'm just going to give you a bit of an outline of how I'm going to approach this. As ever, I'm going to share what an Aquarius New Moon is about and the opportunities that this gives us all collectively. Which is a good word because the sign of Aquarius is very much about us all collectively too. But also this new moon is particularly powerful because it's aligning with Pluto just at the end of its journey in the sign of Capricorn. So it's a disassociate conjunction, but that ups the ante. They're very, very intensely connected together. But also we have Venus and Saturn in a conjunction on this event, both in Aquarius. And there are other planetary influences that I need to tell you about. So lots to get through. It's really exciting. As ever, I'll share on the screen exactly where the event occurs in all the big cities of the world. Then I'm going to share the Zodiac wheel, which takes the first point as the vernal point. And that puts a gathering of energy in house 11. Of Aquarius, and then I'm going to share the nativity with you based on Placidus on Universal Central Time, and that does give us an ascendant in Virgo at 18 degrees. And after that, please stay with me. I will go through each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces in forensic detail, which you can watch in terms of your sun or ascendant. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for joining me. I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap the bell notification symbol. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you've yet to order your year 2023 personal horoscope, in my special package, you can also get your life roadmap report, which gives you a deep dive into some of the hurdles that may have come up in your passage so far, but also the way that you can tackle them and also flagging up the opportunities that you can embrace more firmly. And in my special package, there's 30% off, plus underneath that you will also get free your year Zodiac Forecast, Chinese Forecast and Indian Forecast. Please see the link below. So this event occurs on the 21st or 22nd of January. Please see on the screen now exactly where it occurs in all those big cities. Now in the solar chart you can see that gathering of energy on the screen now in the sign of Aquarius. And of course the sun and the moon are at 1 degree 32 in Aquarius. So it's very early. It means it's in the first 2.5 degrees of the sign. Therefore it falls into the first 12th harmonic. And that gives this a double Aquarian value. But you can see at 28 degrees 20 in the 10th house of Capricorn we do have Pluto. So it's just under 3 degrees away, and that does bring its mighty transformational power to bear. But also you can see that Venus and Saturn are in Aquarius as well. So I would characterize this event as being really the start of the beginning of the new epoch. Because despite what you've been seeing a lot on YouTube particularly, although Pluto goes into Aquarius this year on the 23rd of March, it's only for 11 weeks and it's only for 38 weeks in 2024. So this is the beginning of a reshaping of the cultural, financial and humanity interfacing energies that will come from Pluto in its transition through Aquarius, but it's given us a bit of a taste. But there's a bit of a theme here because the sign of Aquarius is actually ruled by the same sign that governs Capricorn, Saturn. And so Aquarius energy has the love of traditionality, the love of a degree of continuity, it's a fixed sign, but also the dashing energies of Uranus, which is much more to do with being a bit changeable, far-sighted, innovative, and really fresh and different. And those two energies live in duality. So having Pluto here is telling us that Some of the Capricorn energies are going to persist, but we are seeing a waking up more to how if we work collectively together, that we can all be stronger from that. Now, in this chart, you can also see that we do have Jupiter at 4 degrees in Aries. So the angle between the sun and the moon is a sextile, and that can be very lucky. So the next month can be a time of really wonderful new energy, particularly around the long term, or where we can build collaborations and connections to others. You can also see that Jupiter and Mars across houses 1 and 3, Mars now direct after going direct on the 12th of January, they're also forging a really motivational influence. So a time when we can be much more pioneering and dashing in our approach. So there's lots to love about this particular event. You can though see that Mercury, parked up in house 10, is in a quincunx with Mars in house 3. Some of the ideas percolating around may push back against the orthodoxy that has tended to have the more prominent influence since Pluto moved into Capricorn in 2008. So some disruption still around big business, financial markets. This Aquarius New Moon is not going to be a panacea. But Aquarius New Moon is a chance when we can think about what we want from the future, but about our network, about our friendships, about the higher values we have. Of course, it's an air sign, but you'll think, why is it have a glyph of the water bearer? Well, that's because it's very intrinsically linked to baptism. If we can reach into the highest part of all of our natures, we're reaching towards that connectivity that Aquarius can give us. But Aquarius also wants us to be profoundly individualistic, so we don't have to stop being ourselves. We just need to find the areas that we can link with others in a way which feels comfortable. Now, in terms of the natal events, I've done this in Placidus based on Universal Central Time. And as I mentioned before, we have that ascendant in Virgo at 18 degrees. It's actually 1851. And guess what? It's exactly conjunct the part of fortune. So the more we can use that Virgo energy to help steer this event, the more degree of precision and care and attention to detail will be important. But Virgo is also about working for the service or to help others in a way which gives us a sense of satisfaction. So the gathering of energy in Aquarius, apart from Saturn, is all in house 5, and in Placidus Pluto moves into house 5 as well. Very much about personal charisma, individuality and creativeness. So a lot of new stuff's going to be coming through about approaching life in a fresh and really groundbreaking way. But when it comes to those relationships, with Saturn just parked up in that 6th house, if there is a friendship or long-term relationship which isn't working, I do feel that there is a chance that that combination could see a cessation of an involvement in the most extreme cases. But the converse can be true. It can be when people really decide to put their lot in with someone and be very dedicated for the future benefit of both parties. So it just depends on how it is in your particular realm. So if you've got very constructive group dynamics, you get on well with people, there are good boundaries, you feel there's a lot of respect shown either side, fine. If there's a relationship which maybe in some ways feels quite crowded, maybe a partner dislikes any need to have friendships or interests outside the relationship, I think that could come up as an issue at this particular time. Now, in terms of the forecast for the next 4 weeks. So Aries, having Jupiter in your sign in that amazing alliance to the sun and the moon is really something to behold, particularly as your ruler Mars is no longer retracing its steps and also forges a great link to Jupiter. Jupiter in the 1st house is very much about going for it and just listening to your instincts, which you have a great gift for, but you're going to be very persuasive. Just be aware that someone a bit rigid, someone who's a bit old school could find some of your approaches in the next month a bit challenging. But if you do want to change things up around your long-term future, this is a wonderful chance to go for it, Aries. Taurus, for you, having the collection of energy in Aquarius as it is very much about your work and your worldly involvement, responsibilities, goals and ambitions. Now Saturn's been really testing you in this area over the last 2.25 years, and it may be that there have been some things that have made way in your life. So something you used to do, you're no longer doing now, and you may be adapting to the new world order. But that doesn't mean to say that you can't still make it to a point of greater solidity and security. I just feel because your ruler is being dominated by Saturn on this event, you're going to need to feel that in a professional way there is a good sense of appreciation for what you're investing, that you feel that there's a respect. And if you have a relationship with a line manager that lacks those things, I think you're going to be looking for a new job. But it also could point towards you taking on greater responsibilities for elderly parents, your grandchildren, or developing much more of an investment in your local community in some kind of leadership role. Now, Gemini, having Mars going forwards in your sign is brilliant. It's forging an amazing link with Jupiter. And of course, Jupiter in turn linking superbly well with the Sun and the Moon. Now, if there's something you've been trying to learn or expand over the last couple of years, this can be a halcyon month for you where you really achieve some kind of breakthrough. But equally, there could be news to do with a long distance relationship or a property matter that may need careful consideration. You might not quite get the feedback that you would like, but if you've really worked hard on a website, on a new business, on a publishing situation, on teaching or training, either giving it or receiving those things, this can be a time when you really can see just how far you've come. Now, of course, Mercury, your ruler, is compromised in some ways by Mars. It's just saying that when it comes to the money, you can't have it totally on your own terms. So there may be some kind of compromise that you have to strike, which could feel slightly uncomfortable. But this new moon is asking you to embrace the truth, the higher truth of your situation. Don't ignore the information that you glean. That's the fact. And then you can make new plans based on a realistic understanding of where you are. Now, Cancer, for you, the gathering of energy in the sign of Aquarius is house 8, where we're most invested in other people. But of course, Pluto is just at the end of house 7, along with Mercury. So maybe the discussion for you is very much about a business matter, shared resources. It could be about a pension, savings, property matter, or it may be about a more romantic alliance, about whether you want to take the next step into a deeper structural commitment, such as moving in together, getting spliced, perhaps sharing resources in a much more equal way. But equally, if you've put an awful lot of commitment into something and you feel that it's not being reciprocated in the same way, Jupiter being in your 10th house, linking with Mars in your 12th, can give you the confidence to potentially make some changes. Now, Leo, for you, the gathering of energy is in house 7, the key energy in Aquarius, very much about relationships. And with Venus and Saturn together, this could be a defining moment. You know, is there a tie that you've been really trying your best around and you don't feel that that is really being respected? Or is someone about to come into your life who's going to really light up your cosmic order over the next month? Either is possible. What is true is you're going to be taking your relationships or your ability to connect with people or get a job in customer service or as an advisor. You're going to take these areas very seriously in the next 4 weeks. Virgo, for you, Saturn has been impacting on your 6th solar house for the last few years, and it may be that your health has been suboptimal, also because Uranus has been pushing you to break out of anything restrictive or limiting or dull or rather predictable, that's created a lot of stress if you don't feel your options have been very good. I think this event actually is going to open up those options in an incredible way for you. And because Mars is now 3 of the retrograde, it is in a very assertive position through to the 25th of March, which can help you to really go for it when it comes to your professional goals. But whatever you do for your job, or however you live your life in terms of virtue, self-discipline, diet and exercise, you need to enjoy it. And I think that's the critical thing. You can be, very self-sacrificing to support others, but don't, in that need for order, sacrifice your passion and creativity totally on the altar of being a good egg for others. Which brings us to Libra. Now for you, having all that energy in Aquarius is glorious. This is house 5, this is where you shine. But of course it's where Saturn's been. So if there was a weak relationship in your life, it's probably gone over the last couple of years. But having your ruler combining with Saturn is an opportunity, because it's helping you to see how far you've come, how you've set your stall out, your boundaries, and also what you won't accept anymore. You've got a minimum standard. And with the glorious link between Jupiter in your sector of relating, coming back to this sector of romance and creativity, and Mars pushing you to be much more daring, go for it over the next month. If you want to bring some new passion into your life, new excitement in an existing relationship, it's up to you to take the first step and take the initiative. Scorpio, having Saturn in the 4th house can lead to a lot of issues to do with structural problems in a property, or perhaps family politics, or perhaps you've had to take a lot of responsibility for someone who hasn't been well, who's close to you. Perhaps you felt your home environment has been too limited or cramped, or perhaps too big because kids have flown the nest. Whatever problem or issue that's really reared its head around your emotional life over the last few years, this is a chance to see how hard you've worked at it. And with your ruler Mars in the 8th house, it could be that a property matter can now be resolved in a way which gives you immense satisfaction. So if you've been doing some kind of reconstruction, renovation, you've moved, or you've redecorated, or you've added more space in an imaginative way, or you set up a garden office, whatever challenges you've faced over the last couple of years, now you can see what you've achieved, but also see the foundations you've got to move forwards in a dynamic way once Saturn moves into your 5th house of creativity on the 7th of March. Sagittarius, all this Aquarius energy speaks beautifully to you, because like you, it's a sign that's very free-spirited, independent, and likes frankness. And also Jupiter, your ruler, linking so brilliantly with this gathering of energy means the way you express yourself, particularly with Mars in your 7th house of relating, I think you're going to show a lot of enthusiasm, spark. I think people are really going to be captivated by what you've got to say over the next month. If there is something you want to sell or promote, you can absolutely, really go for it in a way that does get a lot of plaudits. Capricorn, for you, having your ruler hovering over the planet of money might seem a bit daunting, but hey, you've had the planet of restriction, your ruler, in your 2nd solar house for the last 2.25 years. So you've been used to this. You've probably made some economies, become a bit thriftier in some ways, a bit craftier in others. But now this can help you to see what the foundations are that you've got. And I also feel that this is a bit of a test for your self-esteem. If you have been feeling less than worthy, this combination between Venus and Saturn and this new moon really is pushing you, particularly with Pluto in the mix, to give yourself a lot of credit. Are you being too hard and self-critical? If the answer is yes, this is the new moon to change that and to think much more positively about yourself, what you've got to offer, and the value of you and your entire life, even if you don't have a lot of money. Which brings us to Aquarius. Now, Saturn in one's own sign can be really tough. But when we've got the two rulers of one's own sign, you're lucky. You get two, traditional Saturn, modern, higher octave Uranus, grating away at each other in an abrasive way for 2 years. It really has been tough for Aquarians, particularly if you've had planets really at the heart of either Taurus or Aquarius, or elsewhere in your chart at around 15 degrees because of Uranus going forwards and back, Saturn going forwards and back. So it's really persisted and it's been darn tough. But this is your chance to now set in plain all the ideas, all the knowledge, all the experience, all the glitter and star quality that you possess in such incredible amounts, and just really put it out there, because with Jupiter and Mars supporting you gloriously, this is an absolutely wonderful chance for you to showcase what makes you absolutely unique, but hard-working, robust, and up for new beginnings, or investing energy in ongoing strands that are really important to you, and you can really captivate people in the weeks and months to come. So Pisces, the collection of energy in house 12, is really asking you over the next month to check again that with Saturn's journey through your 12th house over the last few years, have you really cleared out your emotional closet in terms of old hurts, upsets, unresolved issues? Some may be so painful and so grievous that what you've been able to do is look at them more closely and become more intimate with them, and you can still work with them, you can nurse those along, but you're much more connected, and that's brilliant. Or it could be you've been lucky to let some things go completely, or you've embraced side of your nature that are not perhaps so nice, and you've come to terms with who you are more, or to terms with some of your health issues around emotions or stress or anxiety. If you've really brought all of these into yourself to make one holistic person, once Saturn moves into your sign on the 7th of March, that's your new beginning. And all the things that people say about Saturn moving into one's own zone, believe me, moving through the 12th house is a much tougher prospect. And you've had Saturn engaging with Uranus, the 12th, 3rd house. There's been lots of gossip, lots of uncertain and unexpected events. It really has been a time when sleep, rest, relaxation have not been easy to find. So if you're at peace with yourself, you can really enjoy the next month by getting out in nature, getting some therapy treatments, a nice massage, or go for a spa day, and just really soothing and enjoying where you are, ready for this brand new start. For when, of course, there is the new moon in your sign. It is going to be conjunct Saturn. I'll tell you about that the next new moon. But you then have Saturn moving into your sign, and that is a very important event for you structurally. But more to tell you on the next new moon video. But for now, thank you so much for joining me. Wishing you all the best and goodbye.